I'm Monique Shippen, Miss World Australia, New South Wales State Finalist for 2021, and this is my interview with the Pageant Project.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to interview number, what interview number is this? Let me actually find out. 153. My special guest for today is a return customer, Monique Shippen. Monique, welcome back to the show.
Hi, it's great to be back on the show. Thank you for having me.
It's been a while. When was the last time? I mean, we had this joke when I interviewed Brittany Dixon and told you that it's the last time I interviewed someone in person was yourself. How long ago was that?
I feel like it was before COVID, and it was when I was a national finalist for Miss International Australia in 2019.
Was that like 2 years ago?
Yes, I can't believe it. It's been 2 years.
Okay, all right. So it's been a while. It's been a hot minute. And as I mentioned in the description, Monique, you've held a couple of titles previously, and now you're state finalist for Miss World Australia. So I guess first question is, when is the state finals? Remind me, it's Friday?
Yes, so it's next Friday at Dalton House, and yeah, it's like less than a week away. So everyone's really excited, but I'm sure it will creep up on us really quickly.
Yeah, it's not far away. How are the emotions at the moment? I mean, you've done this many times before, had the lead up to a big pageant. So are the
Yes.
emotions like it's all taking it in your stride, or do you still get a little bit worked up?
No, I feel like it's an emotional roller coaster. Like there are moments where I'm just super excited to meet all the girls, meet all the team, and just to get on stage again and to look really lovely and to spread our message. And that's really exciting. That's the part I'm really excited about. But then there are moments in the day where you're really nervous, just thinking, just want to
You
make sure
still
that.
get nervous?
No, well, I don't get too nervous,
I
but it's
was
just
gonna
more
say.
that I think it's more that like when you prepare or you have a certain message you want to tell people and you just want to make sure that you get that across and that you don't,
Yeah.
slip up or forget to tell people what your message is. That's the only thing I get nervous about.
Sure. Now, guys, I can see a bunch of you watching. So if you have any questions for Monique about anything to do with pageants or any messages of support or her music or her advocacy or her work, then whack them in the comments and I can pass them on to Monique. So Monique, it's on Friday. And if people, what time was it? Because it was in the middle of the day, which is a bit unfortunate because otherwise I'd be able to turn up. Was it at 1 p.m.?
So 1:30 is arrival, and then 2 p.m. is when the show starts. And there's going to be a 2-course lunch, which is really lovely.
Which you guys probably won't be partaking in as you'll be on stage. I
Yeah.
believe the purchase link to buy tickets is in your bio.
It is on Instagram.
Okay, all right. So guys, if you want to purchase a ticket, I'm going to assume it's not too late. Are the tickets sold out or they're still available?
I think there's still tickets available.
Okay, guys, so if you are in New South Wales and you are available this Friday, around about lunchtime, I believe that's right in the middle of the city, so it's pretty convenient, easy to get to. You can have a nice 2-course lunch and watch the girls do their stuff. So, Monique, do you want to give people who don't know a bit of your pageant history? I normally start with this, and it's pretty straightforward. For you, it might take about 2 hours to explain all your pageant history. But
I'll try to keep it brief.
yeah, give us the condensed version, if you would.
The 30-second timer. So
I
just
don't
really
think that's enough.
Just really quickly, I started pageants when I was 18, so I never joined any teen pageants. I wasn't actually aware of those in Australia. And I did a pageant called Miss Wow when I was 18, and I won, which I was really surprised about because I still felt that I wasn't as confident as I am today. So that was a great Kickstarter into the pageant world. Then the following year, I did Miss Philippines Australia, which is like a multicultural festival, and then they have this pageant for people with Filipino heritage. So if you're half or if you're full Filipino, you can join. And I didn't place in that pageant, but I still felt like I made lots of friends. So that really was something I took away from that. And someone told me that I should join Miss Earth Australia the same year. And so I joined Miss Earth Australia. I didn't actually know much about the pageant back then. I was still only 19. And I finished in the top 10, which I was super proud about because I think there was about 30 girls or something. And for me, who was quite new to the pageant world, I felt that I did my best in that moment, and that's all I could ask for. And then I took a massive break, which, I took a break up until 2018 just to focus on my study and my music. And I did Miss Earth Australia 2018, which I won and got to represent Australia in the Philippines for the Miss Earth International competition. And the following year, I just felt such a rush from winning Miss Earth Australia, and I felt like I still had more work and like more passion that I wanted to spread on an international level. So I went for Miss International Australia 2019, and then I didn't think I'd win again, but I just really went in because I just really was passionate about ovarian cancer awareness, and I really wanted to continue my advocacy through another platform. And then when I won and represented Australia in Japan in 2019, just before COVID, which I was really lucky, I got to really embrace the motto of cheer all women, and I got to meet women from all over the world. And I feel like that was the best place I'd ever been in my life, where I was meeting girls from all over the world, hearing about their passions, their projects, and everyone has a different story, different journey, different project. So it's great to hear all about that. And now I'm excited after a year of COVID and not having any pageants at all. It was nice to hear that I had been selected as a New South Wales finalist for Miss World for this year. And I'm really excited about the Beauty with a Purpose project.
Okay, so let's dive into it. So just before we dive into the Beauty with a Purpose project, I mean, clearly you've been involved in pageants for a while. You certainly haven't done, let's say, as many as some of the other girls have done. But the ones that you've done in Australia, I don't know, a lot of Australian girls don't realize sometimes that how big some of these titles are internationally. I mean, International and Earth are already two of the biggest pageants. They call them the Big Five or the Grand Slam Five, and as is Miss World. So just from your perspective, obviously you've had an amazing time. What are the sort of the key differences or the key parts that you've enjoyed in each system? Because obviously Earth has the environmental advocacy, International has Cheer Women, as you said, and then Miss World has the Beauty with a Purpose project. So what would you say has been the differences that you've seen so far between those three different systems?
That's a really great question, because a lot of listeners wouldn't know about the different pageants, as you said. So with Miss Earth, it was the environmental advocacy. So all the girls around the world are focusing on how we can make the Earth a better place, how can we spread awareness on how to live a more eco-friendly lifestyle, and how we can educate children, not just children, but our communities about how to work together just to make small changes, to all do small actions to make a bigger change. So during Miss Earth, I was doing a lot of cleanups with the community and tree planting, and also protecting our native wildlife. So I sponsor a koala monthly. And so that was a big focus for that pageant. And I think it's great that each pageant has a different project, because we're not superheroes. We can't focus on so many things, but all these issues are equally as important in the world. So I really love how each pageant focuses on something else. So with Miss International, Cheer All Women. So as we know, as I know, but some of you might not know, ovarian cancer is one of the deadliest cancers in Australia for women, but we don't really hear much about it. So breast cancer is quite well known in the community, but ovarian cancer, you actually can't get tested So like a pap smear doesn't actually detect ovarian cancer. So it's really important that we spread this message to everybody to make sure that they monitor their symptoms and get checked if they think they have any of these symptoms. And it can really save a woman's life if we spread this message.
Yeah.
So, and another thing with Churro Women is just supporting other women out there, especially with pageantry, when you meet girls, and the best thing is just to make friends with them and hear their voice and see how we can work together to make that change and really lift each other up and support each other. Because if we tear people down, we shouldn't really feel jealous for anybody, because that's just, it's spreading negativity. And another big thing for women is like domestic violence was another big campaign when we were in Japan. So the rates of domestic violence are really high, and we often see in the news that there are women who have lost their lives, unfortunately, due to domestic violence in the home. So just visiting women's shelters where they take in people who have suffered from domestic violence, and just talking to people who have suffered from this and letting them know it's okay to, tell someone that they need help. So that was really great during Miss International as well. And then moving on again to Miss World, Beauty with a Purpose. I've tried to just follow all the Miss World journeys, Beauty with a Purpose, but it's just, I haven't had time to follow all of them because
it's a lot.
there's so many amazing
all of them.
projects. I know. And there's just so many amazing projects. But what I noticed is that most of them have worked with UNICEF and UN and have gone overseas to refugee camps and to third world countries where education isn't, they don't really offer education there for children who are poor, and some are fleeing from war and violence. So some of those children don't have the opportunity to actually have a proper education. So I love seeing how these girls who are beautiful, but they're also using that platform and that voice to make a difference by visiting these refugee camps and visiting these kids and giving them hope that there are people out there who want to help you, and giving them giving them that equal opportunity. They can actually become like a doctor or a lawyer, whatever they want to be, basically. So I really love that.
That was a long answer because you have such a long pageant history.
I'm so sorry.
No. It's not that.
Reverse from when I was young.
This is like why I was joking with you before about well, not joking. I was like talking about pageant coaching because I mean, there are girls who've done well in one system. You've entered Miss World Australia. That journey is not yet done, but you've entered 3 of the biggest systems. And I think just getting your perspective at the very least on the differences between the systems, because I often tell people it's not, and I don't know if you agree with this, Monique, but it's not a case of just pick whatever system is coming up next and go for it because they're all the same, because they are actually incredibly different, and different systems will tend to suit different people. And even I'm sure, such as yourself, when you've entered the different systems, yes, you've done well in all 3, but you have focused perhaps on a different advocacy or emphasize different parts of you. So is that fair to say? Like pageant selection is a very, very big deal.
I definitely agree with that because as you were talking about Brittany Dixon, the Miss Earth Australia, she was saying how Miss Earth is the only pageant that she really went for it 3 times, I think, before winning, because she really aligned with the environment and her work is in the environment. So that's great to hear that you should really choose a pageant that lines up with what you're doing and what your passion is, and that way you can really get your message across and put all your love into that and care into that, and it comes across to everybody that you are genuinely interested and passionate about that. So that's why, as some of the viewers may know, I'm a teacher, so education has always been a big part of my advocacy, and that can come across. I also love the environment because I grew up near the beach, so putting environment and education together is how I've chosen my pageants.
I've seen some of your Instagram photos, and I live in Sydney, for those of you who don't know, and I've seen some of Monique's photos near the beach, and even though it's only like 30, actually I was up in the northern beaches just yesterday at Harbour Diggers, having fish and chips. It was amazing. But if you guys don't know, let me actually see if I can find it. Yes, there's some photos of Monique, and you've got the northern. Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about the northern beaches? I mean, I joked with about Home and Away and all that, but
Oh yeah.
that's where Home and Away is actually shot.
Anyway,
But
yeah.
for those of you watching from overseas, or if you don't know, Monique, tell people a little bit about the northern beaches, and I'll see if I can bring up a photo.
Sure. So as Adrian said, Home and Away, the TV show, is filmed in the northern beaches, in the north part, so Palm Beach, Avalon. And I'm actually from Manly, which is well known in the world. So if you're watching overseas, you probably have heard of Manly, and that is the south part of the northern beaches. This has actually taken this photo at the top of Palm Beach. So Home and Away is filmed just below on that beach there, and it is absolutely beautiful. I've grown up here all my life, and I think just with self-care, just going to the ocean, taking a walk, and being up on that rock where you can see everyone. I see a lot of pictures up here. I see people just sitting there, like by themselves, or reading or doing yoga, and it's just amazing just to take in the environment, like the breeze, the ocean, the sounds.
The ocean.
It's just a great way to relax.
I was reading a study, I think it was somewhere, that just being near the ocean and smelling that salt water and hearing the sound of the waves is actually very conducive to creativity. So, I mean,
Really?
you would know as a songwriter and myself as an author, I love writing near the beach. I don't actually want to go in the water. I mean, obviously writing in the water is probably not the best idea.
I'm sure
but
some people do it.
That might be a new niche to get onto. But I mean, just being near the ocean is incredible. And this stretch of water, I know it very, very well. It's probably one of, whenever I have someone from interstate or overseas, I always bring them to see this view, not from this part. I did ask you where this was, and you told me, but I still haven't been there. But I look at it from another point of view, which is one of the national parks, and it overlooks this peninsula.
You might need to tell me where that is, because I don't think I've been there.
It is near Terry Hills. I don't know if you know, the turnoff is near Terry Hills, and then you go into a national park. And one day I just went for a drive, and I asked the person who gave me I bought a coffee, didn't just give me a coffee. You know, is there something nice to see around here? And she said, actually, if you drive the length of the peninsula, so you've got to drive about 20 minutes, and it's parallel to this peninsula that you're on right now, and you go all the way to the end, and there's a lookout. And from the lookout, you can see this, where you are, the island, and all the way up to the central coast. And it's an absolutely amazing view. So I'll have to tell you, I can't remember.
Yes, I'm going to try that. It sounds beautiful.
But it's absolutely amazing. Are you ever going to move anywhere else? Not saying that you should, but I mean, when it comes to that, if you like that, could you ever move anywhere else is the question.
Well, this is the funny thing. There is a saying that once you are on the northern beaches, you never leave the northern beaches, which is pretty true, because, I mean, when you grow up, like ever since I was a baby, I was born in a hospital that is literally on the beach in Mona Vale. And so ever since I was a baby, and my dad's a very outdoor person. My dad's a very outdoor person. He goes to the beach. He used to go to the beach every day after work and go running and swimming. So he used to take my little basket of me as a baby across the road to the beach. And I used to just sit there in the sand and hear the ocean. So I feel like ever since I was little, I've been involved with the beach. So I don't think I could ever leave a beach. I could certainly say I wouldn't rule it out living somewhere where it's close to a beach, but I could never live away from a beach.
What I mean is, I don't think I could see you living like in the middle of the big smoke, for example,
No.
where you're close to nothing except more big smoke.
You won't find me there.
Yeah, here's a question for you though. I saw somewhere that people are either ocean people or bush people. We obviously talked about the ocean. Palm Beach, behind you, there's a lot of bush there as well. So if you had to pick one, ocean or bush, which one would do it more for you?
That's easy for me. So I'd say ocean, because of the sound of the ocean too. I don't necessarily love swimming. I love seeing the waves move and listening to the ocean. That's really, it helps me relax.
Yeah, no, I feel exactly the same. I often go to the beach but don't go. I sit at a cafe next
That's
to
what
it
I do.
and then just like to people watch and wave watch, and it's just really soothing and relaxing. It's like
It is.
my form of meditation.
Me
Okay,
too.
well, we've done the advertisement for Northern Beaches, so Palm Beach, if you want to pay us for that, that would be very, very much of a good do.
Northern Beaches
Tourism
Council,
video.
here we come. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like honestly, that part where you're standing, can you imagine if we got a drone, and I'm sure people have done this, got a drone and just did like a 360 around there and just put that
Mm.
up, like that's an advertisement in itself. You don't need
Yeah.
to say anything about a view
No,
like
you
that.
don't. No.
It just sells itself. Have you ever visited the Home and Away set?
You mean like the official? They have like an official bus
Yeah,
where they see the tour. No, I haven't. But
yeah,
no, I haven't been to the set. Like I've only been to the beach and the cafes and the surf club that they shoot from the show. I've been to that, but I haven't been to the set.
right. Okay.
Have you?
Because when I had yes, by accident. I
Oh,
had a I had a friend over here just before COVID. She was from the UK, and we went driving along the northern beaches because I wanted to show her Palm Beach, show her that view that you saw in the photo. And we were just driving, and I wasn't going anywhere in particular. And then we ended up at this smallish beach in a car park, and then you saw all this camera crew. And I was like,
oh wow.
what? Why is there such a big camera crew? Then we drove towards there, and then we saw that bus, the Home and Away
Yeah,
bus.
there's a bus.
And then,
Yeah.
even though I haven't really ever watched Home and Away, I still recognize the surf club, and I had somehow accidentally found the Home and Away set. So yes, I have
Wow.
seen it, but I didn't mean to. And they were filming there. I had no idea who they were, but there was a bunch of tourists there with photos, with cameras and everything. So I have seen the set. But yeah, the beaches, that is something else. Monique, okay, we were going to talk about the Beauty with a Purpose project. So do you want to let the people listening or watching know what you've chosen as your Beauty with a Purpose project?
Yes, so I'm a teacher, so I really believe that education is really important. And we're supporting Variety Australia as Miss World Australia candidates. And Variety Australia help children who are disadvantaged or have disabilities get equal opportunity in education. And I would love to use my skills as a teacher and to travel across other schools, and hopefully one day, this is my dream, but COVID has kind of gotten in the way of this, is to travel across other countries and maybe visit some of those third world countries where I could work with children who don't have the tools or are able to receive this education. And I'd love to work with a team to go out there and just teach them and tell them that it's going to be okay, that there are people out there who do want to help you, and that you can be anything that you want to be if you have the right support. And because this all stems back to my childhood. So when I was younger, I was extremely shy and found it hard to make friends, and I really thought that I would never be able, I didn't even know what I'd be able to become, because all jobs, most jobs require talking and being with people.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I got really scared of people. Like I just could never talk to anyone. And this got really bad throughout primary school. And there were times I used to just sit alone, like in the library, and I became really good at reading. But it was just a really sad time for me. And I had a teacher who, I love music, so this also ties into it. I had a music teacher who really just believed in me, and she told me that she used to be shy when she was younger, which I didn't believe because she was so confident. And to have that role model to look up to really gave me an inspiration that maybe I could also be able to sing in front of people. So long story short, over time, we built this relationship of trust and support that I ended up performing little by little and becoming more confident, more in love with music, and how music. So another thing with the Beauty with the Purpose project, I also want to incorporate music into it, because music's a universal language and brings people together. We celebrate all emotions, sadness, happiness, with music. So if we could also bring that. And different countries have different types of music, so it could be a really fun experience to express yourself through music as well. So over time I really love music, and now that's why I decided to become a teacher, is to be that role model for kids who feel like that they're disadvantaged or shy, or they have a disability and they feel like they can't get to their dreams. Just give them the tools and the support that they can actually become whoever they want to be. And another thing that I also want to do as part of this project is that a big issue today, especially with social media, is bullying and mental health. And being a teacher, I see this every day, especially because everyone has social media now. And there are a lot of things, like it's very easy to bully people online, which is really sad. And I see kids being affected by this every single day. So I have to, we have to be prepared to help these kids as a teacher, and try and spread the message to others that these people, that like everyone is someone's daughter, someone's son, someone's best friend, someone's mother. And if you don't want that thing said to you, then don't say it to somebody else. Like if you didn't want to receive that comment, then don't say it to someone else. Only spread messages that you want to receive yourself, because you don't know what that person has been through, where they are in their life, and that little message could set them over the edge. So it's just, I just want to spread positivity. And that's basically, I'm going to rant on for ages, so I'll just leave it there. But education and music, and also possibly, I know that I'm taking on too much than I can chew, but because I was already working with my environmental projects, I would also love to put that in with the education. So just making everyone aware. We could do like composting, tree planting projects. Also, I forgot the word now. That's the word I was thinking of. Oh, growing your own vegetables. Just like little projects like that with the community, to be aware about our about climate change, because that's a really big issue that we're all suffering. Without the world, we wouldn't have a home to live in. So if we could all work together to make more eco-friendly choices, and
What remind me, Mon, what age kids do you work with? It's the younger ones, right? Primary school?
No, this is actually,
No?
I have to explain this every time I go to a different school. So I teach preschool, so zero, like babies as well. I was doing babies too, but 0 to 5, like preschools. And also I'm a high school teacher, so from 12 to 18.
What are you teaching the older ones music as well?
Yes, so I'm a high school music teacher, so I'm trained in that. But at the moment I'm working casual, so I'm teaching pretty much all subjects at the moment for high school. Okay. But when I do get a full-time job, it will be in music teaching. And because I think music, that's a subject that kids feel like they can just express themselves and be themselves, because school's very, you got like so many subjects in the day, so much going on. But I always feel like when they come to music class, they feel like they can be a bit more relaxed and play an instrument and express themselves. And so I often get happy kids, which is good. But even the sad ones, we can cheer them up through music, like we can write a song about it. We can work together in groups to channel that energy, because that's how I used to get through my emotions. If I had a really down day, or if I'm really angry, I would just not consciously write a song about it, but just jam it out, like if you want to strum the guitar and get it out. Kids say it really helps them. So I think that's really great. And then for preschool, like I said, I used to work with babies, but I had to do that for my training. So we had to work with 0 to 2s as part of our training. But most of the time I'm casually teaching preschool, which is 4 years old and 5 years old.
Right. It does. Yeah. There's probably some of the greatest songs in the world have been written by people who weren't happy at the time. So it's interesting to me. you don't want to be sad or depressed or dependent on any sort of drugs or alcohol or things like that. But some of the greatest songs of all time, the ones that will live forever in our heads,
Mhm.
and written by people who haven't been in the best place emotionally. So music definitely is an important part. I just wanted to ask you, because it seems to me, and I've worked with kids, so a lot of, if you don't know, to the people watching, I've worked as a tennis coach, and I've worked with kids not as young as 0 on a tennis court, but 5 all the way up to 18, obviously year 12 here in Australia. And it always seemed to me that, and it's probably changing, but they would enjoy school up until a certain age. And then at some point you would ask them, how was school? And it would go from they really enjoyed it to they didn't enjoy it. And it
Mm.
would normally start at around about 12, just before high school. And
Yeah.
then I think a lot of the frustration with bullying, as you mentioned, is a huge problem. But I think a lot of the frustration with the kids, and I share this frustration, they feel they're learning things that they're never going to use.
That's true.
Now,
Yes.
music is something you can always use. And I was really good at maths and science, really good. But I guess I never used it, except to get into university where you learn more stuff that you
Yeah.
never use. But what's your thinking and opinion on the kids being sort of bored at school or
Mhm.
disenfranchised because what they're being made to learn
Yeah.
is not useful? I mean, when I was in high school, we didn't have social media, so I
Same with
didn't really
me, yeah.
know. Okay, so how much else was out there? But now you've got, like, you can look at what Elon Musk is doing, or
Mhm.
Bitcoin, or start an app.
Yeah.
So, what has been your experience with kids going, I don't want to learn this because I'm never going to use it?
I think that's such a good point because especially when I went to school, there was no social media either. So there weren't
Mm,
those opportunities that they have now where you can really be creative and almost be your own business and
yeah.
have an idea and promote it online or set it up, from home, especially with
Exactly.
COVID, and work
Yeah.
with teams. It doesn't necessarily mean you're just working by yourself. You might work with teams from all over the world, but online.
Exactly.
And
Mm,
you can make a lot of money from that and also be happy because I believe that we should be working in something that we are passionate about or at least have an interest in.
yeah. Of
Um,
course.
like hopefully, but and
Yeah.
so you're right about with school because I do when I do casual teaching, I do have to teach some of those subjects where even I feel like, well, I understand why these kids don't
Yeah.
want to learn it because when are we ever going to use some of these things? And I agree that, maybe some of this helps us have just general knowledge about certain
Sure.
things, but to be
Yeah.
honest, I don't remember anything from
Well,
from
I mean,
school,
why would you? I
so
mean,
it
like,
doesn't
so
really,
you need basic writing and reading
which
and
is
maths.
primary
That's a
school.
given.
Yeah.
Exactly. But, my least favorite, and I'm sorry to any of the history
No,
buffs out
that's
there, but my
okay.
least favorite subject was always history, because I just thought, who needs to remember a bunch of random dates? And this was before social media.
Well, yeah, you
Now,
have
all
to
you got to do is
remember
say,
them.
okay, Google, tell me when
Yep,
this
tell
happened.
me exactly.
So why would I need to remember it? So, um,
And
you go,
sorry,
you go.
just quickly, I feel like there are a lot of things we need to be adding to
Mm,
education that is compulsory that we do need. I was just actually watching another finalist for Miss World Australia this year, and she was that video I think that you shared about CPR and first aid training. And I think that
yeah,
that is
Kristen.
something that we should be putting in schools as compulsory because we live we're a country with ocean all around us and
Exactly.
even
Yeah.
pools. People are drowning, and not just drowning. People fall on the street or could from could fall on the street for anything like a heart attack or anything,
Yeah.
or they might be involved in a car crash. And as she was saying, like it takes often 10 minutes for an ambulance to come. So if there are more people trained in CPR and first aid, we can get more bystanders able to help the lives of these people in need. So I think that's something we
Yeah.
should all learn, and also maybe just social skills, and because people really like, for example, like cooking classes because they in
Mm,
schools because we cook when we grow up, we cook at home, and sometimes they've got like family education, things like that. But I think, yeah, we need more like life skills to be taught in schools, And that way the students can get engaged. But yeah, just in general about education. So being a new teacher who's just graduated a couple of years ago, they have been trying to change how to engage kids of today because they have been losing engagement. So just trying to make it more relevant to them. So the curriculum is actually, don't get me started, but the curriculum has only certain things, that skills that we need to learn, not exact things. So it's up to, in a way, it's up to the teacher to interpret it in a way that they think is going to get through to the kids.
That's really difficult though, and I feel for the teachers because if the kids are bored, you guys are the ones that bear the brunt of it, and no one wants to deal with teenagers who are bored. I feel like, given the topics we already discussed, like bullying, right, or social media things, or cyberbullying, those sorts of things, because the last time I worked in a school was probably about 10 years ago. And back then, phones were just becoming to be a big thing. Well, social media on phones and lives and things like that. So the way that the school that I was at reacted was that you weren't allowed to use your phone during school hours. Okay, but I think that's missing a trick, because it's not just don't use your phone. You need to be able to teach these young people growing up what the best way to use the phone is. So, not just don't use it and then do it in your own time, but it's
then just get it all out at home.
Here's how you should interact with people online. Here's what's appropriate. Here's what's inappropriate. Because we're also at a time, especially in pageantry, where people are afraid to have their own opinion because they're worried they're going to offend someone, and then they end up in a huge shouting match online. So is there anything coming in schools about how to actually do that, like interact in social media in an appropriate way? What's bullying? What's not bullying? When is it okay to have a debate, and what's not okay to say? Is there anything sort of going along those lines coming?
Yes. So I've been in a couple of schools, but I haven't been like full-time at a particular one. But there have been workshops where people come in and have like a seminar for a couple of hours with the students, and they have a presentation about what is the right way to communicate with people on social media. And they also showed, this one particular school showed a really effective video about how how these comments affected certain people. And I think it was very emotional to watch, and it wouldn't have hit everybody, but I feel like the majority of people would have felt that awareness, seeing how that small comment affected these people and how it changed their lives, how downhill they got from that. Because it's easy just to send a mean message and then just close your screen, and you can't see how that person, like you said, sometimes there's jousting, someone might say back, oh, I don't think that's very nice, but you don't actually see how physically that or mentally that affects that person. So this video really opened up a lot of it spread awareness about how it actually affects people. And then they also did role playing is also a really good way. They got some people go up on the stage and do some role playing, and in groups, the other people go in groups and role play. How would you handle this type of situation, and how should we treat people with respect? While also, because it's okay to have your own opinions, but I feel like there's some things that are okay to be shared, and others things you just have to keep to yourself. And so I think role playing is also good, and going through scenarios and seeing how that would feel. You need to relate it back to how would that make you feel if someone said that to you. So reversing it back onto that person, because sometimes they also just come from a place, a lot of bullies, they're coming from a place of hatred themselves. They're going through something, insecurities, something's going wrong at home, or they might be being bullied by someone else, so therefore they want to bully someone so that they feel powerful. So even just getting there's a lot of counselling at schools now because of this growing issue. So a lot of these students or bullies have appointments with those counsellors, because it's all about just talking about maybe why are they doing this, understanding why, and maybe how they can change that. I
think a lot of it, as you said, comes down to the person who bullies almost always has an issue themselves. And I mean, look, I don't know anyone, at least in the pageant space, I don't know anyone who hasn't at some time received some sort of hurtful message or comment, normally from someone who's completely anonymous, probably
Yeah,
doesn't even have,
usually.
set up a fake account to just send them this message of hate. And it's really, really bad. I mean, to give you an example, a recent example, I don't know if you saw what happened with Miss Universe Canada, and she was actually having this huge,
Yeah.
her team was having a huge argument with actually a Filipino designer, Michael Cinco,
Yes, I saw that.
and
Yeah.
they were absolutely going at it online. I think they're taking steps to repair it now. There's been an apology. But Nova, the Miss Universe Canada, was actually stuck in the middle, and someone messaged her, just die, Nova, die, and then just commit suicide. And, because I think teaching kids is one thing, but it's very difficult for us to teach them when we don't really know how to deal with social media
That's
sometimes
true.
ourselves,
Yeah.
because it's constantly evolving. So to bring a social media expert into schools sometimes is difficult, because very often the kids will know more about social media
That's
than
true.
the expert,
Yeah.
because they're on it all the time,
They
right?
are.
They're doing TikTok dances, and they got 10,000,
They've got heaps of
100,000
apps that I
followers.
don't even have never heard of. So
Are you on
there's so many
TikTok?
apps
Just out of
now. No,
interest.
I'm not actually.
Okay,
I'm not going to say why, but I'm not.
that's fair enough.
I'm too
But
busy.
I think, well, yeah, you don't need another
That's one of
thing
the
to spend your time on. But I'm glad to hear that something's been done about it in school. But it's a difficult.
It's still really hard, though. Yeah, it's still not going to completely solve the problem. Like as you said, it's something that everyone's still trying to, get their heads around, because it's such a big issue. Like it was on the news saying, should there be, laws about it, about cyberbullying? And I mean, it could be a great idea, but it's like, how do you stop, like you said, the fake accounts? How can you track some of these people? So it's hard.
And also if you're dealing with minors, because very often, it's people under the age of 18. There's so much you can do. I mean, you don't want to throw someone in jail for that. You want to teach them actually the right way of going about it. But I mean, as I said, those people, it's always about them. It's not about you. So if you receive some sort of hateful message or comment, it's always from a person who's got some of their own issues going on. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but it's never about you.
And also, it's another thing we need to also just help people be more resilient to these comments as well, and realize that, like you said, it's not about you necessarily. Like I've had comments, I don't get many like hate comments, but I have had a few saying you can't sing and your voice is the worst thing I've ever heard. And I'm thinking, I know that I'm happy with how I'm singing, and I've received a lot of comments of people saying they like my singing. So as long as I'm just, even though those comments did hurt me, I'm just thinking, you don't know what you're talking about. You would probably just wish that you could sing, maybe. I don't know. So I just, ignore that and just realize, no, that's okay. I'm happy with my level of singing. And
I think the resilience, as you mentioned, the resilience issue, that's something that's not discussed enough. And that's what I often talk about is I don't think we can ever get to the point where there's zero bullying, because there's always going to be someone who's not so happy. So they're going to take it out on other people. Exactly. So we need to preach resilience as much as we try and stop the bullying. People need to be resilient so that it doesn't. I mean, there are some certain comments that are going to hit home no matter how resilient you are.
No, for sure.
But it's just a question of, okay, that hurt me for like 5 minutes versus, okay, that's impacted me for 5 years sort of thing. So I would really love to see more of that in schools. Guys, just before we move to the end, if you have any questions or comments from Monique, put them in the comments now and I can circle back to them at the end. Janice, who's over in Canada, has said nothing like those comments from profiles with pseudonyms and no profile pic. Well, yeah. I mean, it's always from anonymous accounts.
Zero followers, zero following.
And zero posts. It's I don't understand why people would take the time out of their day to literally do that. Yeah, you've had to create an account. Yeah, when they get one blocked, they say, well, what, don't you have anything else to do?
And most of the time, they don't even know you. So it's like, what is this random attempt to make someone's day terrible?
They never know you. They never know you. They don't know what's going on. And they just make giant assumptions and then just say something that's. Janice here has a question. She's asked you, do you think that bullying and cyberbullying should be treated as harassment?
Like legally, or I think it
Yeah,
is a
that's.
form of harassment because it
Mm,
is pretty much like harassing someone to the point where, you know, they might feel like completely broken down, and you're basically telling them that they don't have any self-worth, or if you're telling someone to go, you know, die or something, that is actually really even not worse, but like it's just as equally as bad as
mm,
harassment.
yeah, that's a difficult question, Janice, because I know you're over in Canada, so it depends which
I
country you're
don't know if
talking
she
about.
was legally like to legally
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is,
charge
even if you made
someone
it
for.
legally, it's very difficult sometimes to find the person who's sending the hate messages.
Yeah, it
So
is hard.
that's why the resilience issue is a big one. Monique, I'm just getting a little bit of an echo. Are you hearing that, or am I just hearing myself?
I can't hear an echo
Okay, maybe
from
it's
me.
just on my end. No, it's me. I can hear myself talking, which is. Oh no, it's gone now. Okay, that's great. All right, Monique. Just before we go to the, actually, it'd be the second time for you through the final 10 questions. I can't remember what you said about.
Oh, I can't remember some of the red. That might be changing.
It was one. I think you mentioned the chalkboard thing. I
Yeah.
think that was you,
Oh,
and you got really
yeah,
worked
it
up about it.
was. And the nails on the chalkboard, and you said that no one knows what chalkboards are anymore. And you just reminded
That,
me the other day I was teaching, and there was a kid throwing this like eraser for the board, and I said, "Don't throw that." I said like duster or something, and then he was like, "It's not a duster." What? And I was like, you know, like chalkboards. And he's like, "What's a chalkboard?" And I was like, you know, the eraser thing. Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, it
then
reminded
for
me
the
of our
rest of the day,
conversation.
rest of the day, I'm sure Monique felt really, really old going chalkboard. What's a
Yeah,
chalkboard, miss?
yeah,
Oh
like,
dear.
oh.
Yeah, the things that teachers used to write on. What are they using these days? Is it whiteboards, smartboards? Is it
Smart
something
boards.
else?
Sometimes they don't even write because you can just project your laptop or computer to Word, and you've got it up already,
Right.
your PowerPoint, and then you only really write on the whiteboard like minimal things. So for music, you'd write up music notes sometimes
Yeah.
or chord names. Everything else has been
Yeah.
projected conveniently up on the board. So you've got it prepared in advance and you just put it up. So the days of copying, you know, when I used to have teachers who would write out and you'd have to copy it, and it
Yeah.
would take the first like 20, 30 minutes of the lesson. None of that now. Everything's already up there.
That's kind of a shame though, because I
I
like those parts because
know.
you never had
Me
to do
too.
anything.
Me
It was just like
too.
writing things
We
down,
don't have to do
and writing
anything
things
each
down.
way. The
Well, I mean,
teacher
writing things down
too,
also
don't they?
helps you remember it. So, I mean, I think
Definitely.
that's a bit of a
Definitely.
shame. Oh, I miss the chalkboard. And they'd go outside with the duster, as you said, and bang, and
Yeah,
you have
and
this
bang them.
cloud.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not sure that cloud of chalk dust was good for any of us, but I get sentimental about that stuff because I don't think
Like,
they
who
do
wants to
that.
go out and
Do you,
dust the chalkboard duster outside? Me. You know,
well, have you? I mean, any
used
of
to
the
be a
schools you
thing.
work at, do they? Any of them still have chalkboards, or are they a thing like
No,
of the past
no.
now? All
They
gone.
no, you can't find them.
Dear me. Okay.
Even
Well, that just
whiteboards you
proves
can't
my
find
point.
sometimes. It's all smart
Well,
boards
that just
mostly.
that just proves my point that people under the age of, I don't know, 18 shouldn't be telling me about chalkboards because they've never seen them in their life, so they wouldn't know what it sounds like. All right. But before we go to the final 10, anyone, Monique, that you want to give a shout out to for supporting you along your journey?
Yeah, so I'd just love to say a big shout out to my family, of course, for always being with me from day one of when I was shy up until now. You've always had, believed in me. And also shout outs to my friends and for all my fans out there who have stuck by with me throughout all my pageant journey. I really appreciate all the support and messages that you've been sending me on my way to Miss World Australia.
Perfect. Okay. Well, Monique, let's go through the final 10, second time. If we ever have a third interview, I won't make you do it again. I've decided to draw the limit at 2. 3 times is
Okay.
just too many. I think I did interview one of my friends 4 times, and it's just like, no, I can't ask you these questions anymore
Well, it
because I
depends.
know
If I
what your
become
answers are going to be.
super famous one day for my music, then you can ask me. I'm joking.
Well, I'll interview you again, but I'm not going to ask you the same questions
Yeah,
again because
okay,
I don't think
okay.
the answer to these really change. I'll have to come up with another
Maybe not.
final 10. Anyway, I have to actually do some work for a change. All right, question number 1. What is your favorite word?
I struggled with this last time, and I don't even know what I said.
I think you may not have given an answer. I think watching back, we said we'd circle back to it, but I don't think we ever did. I could be wrong. I'll have to check now.
Favorite word? Honestly, don't know. I don't know. Maybe waves? I don't know.
We'll go with waves.
Something wavy.
We'll go with waves. We've got an answer. Okay, what about question 2? What is your least favorite word?
I don't like the word moist. I don't think anyone likes that word. We're talking about it in the break room about cake, and we're like, please no one say moist. And I've just said it twice.
That's the issue with moist, is that what else are you going to use to describe a cake that's moist?
It's so, and then you say something else, and then it becomes more awkward, and it's just like, just say it.
How would you describe a cake that's moist if you can't say the word? Because with a cake, that means you can't.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. That's why I hate it.
You can't say it's wet. Like, that's a lovely wet cake.
That's what I'm saying. Because it's not. Because it's also the texture of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A damp cake. Yeah. That's very damp. You know that word I'm looking for starts with M? That, but damp.
Just by the way, I think this is an exclusively a women's only thing, that they dislike the word moist. Guys don't mind at all, but yeah, okay. Let's move on. Question 3. In life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
Music. Because, I just, when I have to, like last night, I performed a 3-hour concert and everyone's like, that's so long. But it got me really excited. Once I started that first song, I was just like having a great time and loved how everyone was dancing along and singing along, and that feeling of being all in one together, dancing and singing together was amazing. So I love music.
What was going on with your Instagram, by the way? You dropped out like 5 billion times and you had to keep...
The screen.
I was watching on Instagram.
I realized because Facebook was fine. I had Facebook going as well and it was fine.
Right.
But then with Instagram, I realized because I just got a new phone, I had never been on a live on that phone before. And it was actually my screen, the display. I thought that even if you were recording on a video, that considered as being active. But apparently not. I found out after that if you don't touch the screen for I think I checked later, it was on 30 seconds, that every 30 seconds the screen would just turn off and then it would pause the live. So I had to keep touching it so it wouldn't cut out my live. It was so annoying.
Okay. All right. That kind of makes sense, but doesn't. I mean, surely a live should be considered as you're doing something.
A live video would consider as being active, yeah.
See, this is tech. This is why tech.
So there's a troubleshooting tip for you all.
Yeah. Well, always test your lives before going live when it matters, because you never know what's going to happen. Okay. So that was what turns you on. Question 4, what turns you off?
When you say turns off, makes me annoyed.
Yeah.
Just recently,
peeve.
Sorry?
Like a pet peeve. What's your pet peeve?
Oh, I hate people who just cut into line, they just cut in the line and it's like, okay, especially in the toilet, it's like, I've been waiting here for ages, I need to go, and you just cut in, or you've been waiting, or if I have somewhere to go, like I was ordering a coffee and I was going to be late for work, and I'm never late, I'm always early. And I thought, I'm early, I'll get a coffee. But this person didn't even ask, most people say, oh, are you waiting? Or, can I come through? But this person decided just to walk in front of me when clearly I was just doing the social distancing thing with the line. Yeah. And they thought it meant that I wasn't in the line, and they just cut in front and didn't say anything. And I was like, and they made a huge order. And now I'm thinking, I'm going to be late. They can't get my coffee. So I just don't like people who are rude like that. Just have common courtesy, Doesn't take long.
Yeah, well, I think that one's completely understandable. Question 5, what sound or noise do you love?
this is going to change because I know what I said last time and I said the ocean, but now I have a pet budgie for all those who might have seen him on my Instagram. And I love the sound of him tweeting. He has lots of different sounds and he can say his name and he can say words. So I love hearing him when I come home. I hear him tweeting. He has a little call that means he's calling for you. So I love hearing his tweets. And if I don't hear him tweeting, I'm like, oh no, something's wrong. Like I just feel comfort when I hear him tweeting.
What's his name?
Ferris.
Ferris. So he can say his name.
He can say Ferris, good boy, baby boy. I'm a good Ferris. He repeats it.
All right.
Mostly just his name. He just repeats his name over and over again.
I didn't know budgies could actually talk. That's a new one.
Well, yeah, actually, you can't. Normally, they have to be taught when they're babies, but he only learned. Yeah. He's 2 and he learnt now, so it's great.
Wow, might be some sort of prodigy that you have there. You might be able to set up an Instagram account or something for him. Cool. Turn him into a budgie influencer. Okay. So that was what sound or noise do you love. So question 6, what sound or noise do you hate?
Yeah, I'm going to say, I said last time the fork on the plate. I also, because of the chalkboard thing. Yeah. There's also another sound I hate. Oh, I hate that high-pitched, it's like a white, what's that sound? It's really high-pitched and the frequency and it gets in your ear. Because I noticed this recently at school when I was projecting stuff onto the board and I had the speakers on, and if you have it like a little bit too high or the feedback noise as well. There's 2 sounds. The feedback sound I hate, which I always get like at parties if someone holds a microphone too close to the speaker and it's like, and then it's like, oh no. But there's also like that little high-pitched sound that's like really high. I'm not going to imitate it. It's like really high and like thin and it gets right in your ear. And we heard it at school a few times last week and the kids were like, Miss, turn it off. I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from. And I was just like panicking.
Oh, wow.
And it was really high pitched. It gets into your ear. But yeah, those 2 sounds, I hate those sounds. Unfortunately, I hear them all the time. So
I don't think I've heard the one you're talking about. I will say, I don't know if you know, but men lose their hearing earlier than women, and the first thing that goes is a high-pitched hearing.
Okay.
So I was literally in front of my computer and I was editing a podcast, editing an audio for my friend, and he had a high-pitched sound in it and I could hear it and it was really annoying, but he literally couldn't hear it. He didn't know there was a sound there. I had to show him on my editing software there's a sound wave.
Frequency, yeah.
Yeah, to show him, look, there is something there, but he literally couldn't hear it. So sometimes that's something worth remembering. If it's a male teacher, like probably 40 or going past that, if it's a high-pitched hearing, they often can't hear it. So that's something worth remembering.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you learn something new every day. Question 7: if you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
Teleportation, so I could, because especially with COVID, I just would love to travel and just get places. Also because if you live a busy lifestyle like myself, I've always had multiple jobs since I was 18. It would be great to just save time and just get to different places. And yeah.
Sounds good. Question 8: what job or occupation, on the subject of jobs other than your own, would you most like to attempt?
I'd love to be a chef, actually. I said last time designer, but I would love to be a chef. Cooking during COVID, I love looking at new recipes and trying new things. And I'm not going to say I'm great at it, but I'm good at following instructions. So I just like try and, as long as I follow the instructions, I can't go terribly wrong, So I've actually had some good, like decent feedback. Like it's not anything crazy good, but like it's been tasty and I've liked, working on those recipes. And so I think I watch MasterChef. So MasterChef pay me for advertising this, jokes. But I love seeing how creative they are with just like how they plate the food and all those flavor combinations that I would never think of. Yeah. I think that would be a fun job and you get to eat it. Like you know, you get to, if you're good at cooking it, you could go home and cook it and eat it. It would be great.
What sort of recipes have you been trying? Because during COVID, the one that all the pageant queens discovered was baking, which was dangerous because then they would
No, I
eat it
actually can't
and you just
bake.
eat cakes. You can't.
That's like
You
no,
can't
my
bake.
fear. No, my fear is actually doing like
You're-
dessert and baking. Yeah, I just like with the oven, I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I'm out. Like so I've been cooking just like lunch, dinner, meals from different cuisines. So like
Right.
and trying some more vegetarian dishes because I've tried to reduce my consumption of meat. So I don't eat a lot of meat anymore. I can't completely cut it out, unfortunately, but I do enjoy a really nice, you know, like recipe with 5-6 vegetables in it, but that's really tasty. So making vegetables tasty. I've loved trying those recipes.
To just wind back for a sec, why can't you bake? Baking is about following instructions, so as long as you follow the
Well,
instructions, it's
look,
all
the
good.
closest I've ever gotten is those, you know, those packets where the box where you just put them all in and then you put it in the oven. I've only done that for, you know, school bake sales and things like that. But actual baking, like, I don't know. You have to get the whisk thing out and you got to get the. I feel like you got to get the, what's it called? The mixing thing. You got to get the electric mixer out, and it's just so many things could go wrong. And the flour is super messy, and I'm not about getting flour on me. I can't. I feel like I'll just burn it in the oven. So that's why
You sound like you've had some sort of past trauma with baking. I mean, it's not any more or less difficult than, I don't know, doing a.
Oh, I also don't like waiting for the oven. Like baking, it might be in there for ages and I've got to wait. Whereas making the meal like in the pan is like it's done, you can eat it straight away. You know, I like that.
Monique, I don't know. Look, you turn the oven on whilst you're doing the mixing, and then you put it in, so you don't have to wait for the oven to warm up.
Maybe that could be my goal for this year, to bake something, and I'll get back to you.
By the way, it's like it's probably safer if you don't learn how to bake, because I was going to say the issue that all the queens did, they baked, and guess what? They had to eat it, and so guess what happened? You know. Why am I so out of because you've been eating cakes and pancakes and scones
to be
and all
honest,
that.
That's actually another reason why I don't bake. I actually don't really like cake that much. So that's not a problem for me. Like when I do birthday parties on the weekend, like, you know, the kids' parties, they always offer me cake, and I am thankful and really like, and so I always get cake, but then, and the cakes are absolutely gorgeous and I'm so thankful, but I'm just like, I just don't feel like cake anymore. I'm caked out. I don't want to bake a cake now because I'm always getting cake all the time, and it's really dense too, like really filling. So
and moist.
Yeah. And the word that I don't like is associated with it. There you go. You're putting the pieces together for me.
I do understand. Now that makes more sense. You don't want to bake because you don't want the cake. You don't want the end result.
No, that makes sense now. Baking? Yeah, that's why.
Okay. Your past trauma, you have cake PTSD. So I mean, what's your favorite food then? It's not cake. So what's your favorite food?
I have a problem. I have a problem with chocolate. Like a serious problem.
When you say a problem, what do you mean you have a problem?
And cheese is chocolate and cheese. Like when I'm trying to prepare, especially for pageants, go on a diet, chocolate and cheese, like I can't resist. And I actually went on my friend challenged me to do a 60-day no chocolate thing, I think 2 years ago. And it was really hard after 2 weeks because everyone was eating chocolate around me. I'm just like, I can't have it. I can't have anything with chocolate in it. And I was having withdrawals and I was like, this problem is real. And then after that, I was fine after that. And you know what? After the 60 days, I had this big 500 grams. I think it was 500 grams. You know, the really big like blocks, not the normal block, but double of that. And I had it there ready and I was so excited. And when I ate it, I felt sick. Like just one little bite, I was like, nah. But now I'm back I had to do that though, because I was eating it every single day after school, like after preschool. It's a lot of energy working with kids. And so I felt like I just needed, I kept making excuses like I need chocolate because I just had a hard day with kids. So every day I was eating it and I was feeling like my sugar intake is just so bad, like every day. And that's why I did that little cleanse thing. And now I try and eat it in moderation. But yeah, I can't give up chocolate or cheese.
Okay. Favorite chocolate and favorite cheese.
So my favorite chocolate in the blocks is Top Deck Dairy Milk. And then boxes, the Gillian shells. I love those shells. They're so good. And then for cheese, some people are going to be like, ew, this is gross, but I love blue cheese. I love all cheeses, but blue cheese is so nice. And I love doing a cheese board. And yeah.
It's interesting. I think people, this has been my experience anyway, people have their favorite cheeses and generally they don't, like they have a favorite one, they don't really like the other type. So if you like a blue, then you might not like a cheddar, for example. I'm a brie person. I'm a brie and camembert. Brie too.
No, I love brie. I love all cheeses.
I do like blue, but when it's a bit too strong, it's a bit, it's a bit.
Yeah, a bit too. I love brie as well. Yeah. Brie is good. It depends what mood I'm in. I love cheddar as well.
I'm always in a brie mood. I'm always in a brie mood.
That's good.
There's never a bad time for brie. I can eat a whole wheel. It's actually pretty disgusting.
Me too. I can too. And it's like, it's not good. Out the window. Goodbye.
It's not good because it comes in a wheel and it comes in a little wheel and you eat half of it and then you're looking at it going, I've eaten half of it and you feel guilty, so you finish the rest of it. So no one ever knows.
Just get rid of it. And then you're like, if I do it today, then it won't be there tomorrow. It's going to be fine. But then you go out and buy another wheel.
Exactly and then that one. Yeah. Yeah. But the other one I deal with is like, okay, let's say you like chocolate and cheese. It's like, well, I'll just eat the cheese. So I won't eat the chocolate. So then you eat, because you're going to be healthy. So I'll just eat a little bit of the cheese and then you eat a little bit of the chocolate and then you end up eating both anyway. So it's just like, I give up.
I'm glad you feel me. This is exactly
the solution is just not to buy. Just don't buy it. This is what I keep saying. If you don't buy it, you can't eat it.
That's how I think I was fine, like as a kid, because I couldn't actually go out and buy it myself. But like now being an adult, it's like, please ban me from the store and not buy this because I can just go out and buy it. No one's stopping me. It's such self.
You'll have to give them a poster. You have to go to your local store and say, well, serve this one, but no chocolate, no cheese. And then you'll have to end up smuggling it underneath or something.
I'm sure I'd find a way.
Oh dear. Okay. Okay, so question 9. What job would you definitely not like to attempt?
Something involving... I don't know, something involving mathematics, I guess, because I don't really. You said you're really good at maths. I had to go back and teach you 7 maths the other day, and it looked super easy. I'm like, I found this really easy at school because I was actually pretty good at maths then, but I'm looking at it like, oh my god, I forgot. What is it? What is it? And I just don't think that I could ever. And then having the brain power to learn that all over again. No, thank you.
What was it? What topic were you teaching in maths? Was it calculus? Was it geometry?
That one was what was it again? I don't even remember.
Oh, like traumatized.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Oh,
something really easy.
Okay.
Should have been easy.
Final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would like him to say that I made all the right choices in my life for a reason. The reason why I got to where I am is because I made choices that I'm happy with, and I've lived my best life that I can, and that I've helped people, because that's what I'm all about now. It's trying to change the world and help children through my teaching. And so I'd love to hear that I've actually changed or inspired lives of other people so that they can also live the best life that they can. And so I'd just like to hear that I've, hadn't missed any opportunities, and that I've been, had no regrets, basically.
That sounds good to me. Just before we wrap up, Janice here has complimented your smile. She said, completely off topic, but I got to say, Monique, your smile is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you, Janice. That means so much to me. because I never used to smile as a kid. So now I smile too much. It's a reverse. And I also have dimples. So like I hate my dimples, but yeah, that's part of the reason why I didn't smile as a kid. But I've learned to love them now.
Good. Very good. Okay, well, Monique, that's about it. Best of luck for Miss World coming up in less than a week.
Yeah, on Friday. Don't forget
Good
to buy
luck. Not that you need it. Yeah. So the purchase link for tickets, if you are in Sydney, will be in Monique's bio on Instagram. So click on through there. You can see Monique's Instagram handle right there. It's at Monique Shippen. Every time I look at your name, I just remember that I told you this, that I know another Monique who's also in pageants, who's Monique Ship, spelled double P. It's I always thought you two were the same person. It's like, why do you have two accounts and one has an extra E in it?
Isn't she from Northern Beaches too? So I was like, freaky.
Yeah, I know. I haven't seen her in ages, actually. I wonder what she's up to. Anyway, Monique, thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you so much for interviewing me. It's a pleasure, as usual, to speak to you. And thank you to all our viewers who have tuned in.
Yeah. So, Monique, I'll keep you on the line for just a second whilst I hang up with the audience, so don't go anywhere. But thanks to everyone for watching live on the replay, and we will speak to you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder to you entrepreneurial types to come and join us at our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/the pageant boss. I'll see you inside and see you in the next episode.